What happens when a calm, structured talk show suddenly erupts into tension in front of millions of viewers? What happens when a clash of personalities leaves both hosts and audience stunned? Tonight, on The View, that storm arrived when America Ferrera stepped onto the set, poised and confident, ready to speak, but not just about her project. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the Viral Breakdown, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments, because what unfolds next is pure live TV chaos. The cameras captured every detail: America's determined gaze, Whoopi Goldberg's watchful posture, and the subtle glances among co-hosts. The show began like any other, casual chatter and celebrity news. Yet beneath the surface, an electric tension was brewing. America had prepared to confront, not just to promote. From her first words, the audience sensed it. Whoopi greeted her warmly, yet a subtle sharpness lingered in her tone. "America, it's great to have you here," she said. America's calm nod and serious voice hinted this conversation would not stay ordinary. America spoke of Hollywood, representation, and authenticity. Her tone was measured but sharp, a quiet critique that Whoopi couldn't let slide. "That's interesting," Whoopi replied. "But isn't it more complicated than that?" The mild challenge sparked a swift, articulate counter from America. "I speak from experience," she said, "and sometimes experience speaks louder than assumptions." The audience shifted, leaning forward as the tension rose. Whoopi's eyebrow lifted, her calm exterior hiding surprise. The co-hosts tried to interject, but the momentum had already taken over. Every pause, every glance, every subtle gesture added to the drama. America's words landed with precision, and Whoopi responded with measured rebuttals, each sentence tightening the invisible rope between them. The energy in the studio grew almost tangible. Cameras zoomed in on micro-expressions, the flicker of irritation, the tight smile, the narrowed eyes. Audience gasps punctuated the dialogue, reactions blending with the verbal sparring. This was no ordinary interview. It was a live collision of intellect, confidence, and personality. America leaned in, delivering a point that landed like a thunderclap. Whoopi's sharp response met it head-on, and the room vibrated with the tension of this carefully measured conflict. The co-hosts' occasional interjections only heightened the drama. America's voice remained calm yet forceful, Whoopi's responses poised yet firm. Every word, every gesture seemed amplified, the rhythm of confrontation capturing the audience's attention. The studio felt electric, as if waiting for the next spark to ignite. This was The View transformed, a live, cinematic showdown of emotion, intellect, and confrontation. As this first act drew to a pause, the audience was on edge, holding their breath. Cameras caught every subtle reaction, ensuring nothing was missed. America had arrived with intent. Whoopi was ready to meet her, and the stage was set for a confrontation that would ripple beyond the studio into social media and viral discussions worldwide. The studio seemed to hold its breath as the conversation deepened. America Ferrera, seated with composed poise, leaned in slightly, her hands moving just enough to punctuate each point. There was a deliberate calmness to her demeanor, but underneath, a sharp intensity simmered, one that Whoopi Goldberg could sense immediately. The veteran host, known for her quick wit and measured control, gave a slight nod, her eyes narrowing just enough to signal that she understood the weight of what was about to unfold. "What I'm really trying to say," America began, her voice steady but layered with conviction, "is that sometimes people only hear the surface of what's being said. They hear the words but miss the intention, the context, the layers beneath. And when that happens, perspectives get dismissed, experiences ignored." Her gaze met Whoopi's directly, challenging yet composed. A quiet murmur ran through the audience, an almost tangible sense that the balance of the show had shifted. Whoopi's initial warmth gave way to a measured edge. "Layers, America?" she asked, leaning forward, her voice calm but probing. "Sometimes it feels like the message is framed the way you want it. Are we talking truth here, or just perspective? Because live television has a way of amplifying everything." Her words were not hostile, but they carried the weight of authority, the tone of someone ready to test the depth of her guest's conviction. America's eyes remained steady. "I'm speaking both," she said firmly. "My truth, shaped by my experience, and yes, the perspective that comes with it. Isn't that why we're here? To challenge, to confront, to speak openly, even when it's uncomfortable." She let the pause linger just long enough to make the room feel almost suspended in anticipation. The audience responded subtly, leaning forward, eyes wide, sensing the delicate tension in the air. Joy Behar, ever aware of the rising drama, attempted to interject. "America, we understand your perspective," she began, but America's subtle gesture and calm stare held her at bay. It was clear this wasn't going to be mediated lightly. Whoopi recognized the challenge, nodding slightly, her voice steady but firm. "I agree that your experience is important," she said, "but on live television, the way your words are received matters. Every line, every nuance, carries far beyond this studio." The dialogue became a rhythmic exchange, a chess match of intellect and presence. America leaned slightly forward, her voice calm but commanding. "Then let it resonate. Let it provoke thought. Isn't that the purpose of conversation? To spark reflection, even if it makes some uncomfortable." The audience exhaled, subtle gasps and murmurs punctuating the studio. Cameras zoomed in on every subtle gesture, Whoopi's raised eyebrow, America's controlled hand movements, the faint tilt of heads, the slight narrowing of eyes, all signaling that this was no ordinary exchange. "Discomfort is one thing," Whoopi replied, her tone sharp now, "but provoking for the sake of provocation can easily become spectacle. Where do we draw the line?" America's response was deliberate, almost cinematic in delivery. "The line," she said slowly, "is drawn when people stop listening, when people stop thinking, when challenge is silenced. That's when conversation dies, and growth dies with it." The co-hosts exchanged glances, each aware that this dynamic was more than a guest interview. It was a living, breathing tension in motion. Sunny Hostin leaned slightly, attempting to guide the conversation, but even her careful interjection only added to the drama. "Perhaps we can explore this without letting it become too tense," she suggested gently. Yet the tension was already full-blown, an almost palpable energy vibrating through the room. America's calm intensity met Whoopi's measured authority, a combination both captivating and mesmerizing. The conversation escalated as America shared personal anecdotes, carefully intertwining them with broader social observations. Each story landed like a stone dropped into a still pond, creating ripples of reaction. Whoopi countered with precise questions, probing deeper, highlighting nuances and contradictions. The audience's reactions became part of the performance, gasps, murmurs, a collective intake of breath, as though everyone in the room felt the collision of thought and presence. America leaned in again, her voice low but firm. "We cannot have meaningful discussion if we fear confrontation. If we silence challenge, we silence growth. And if we silence growth, we silence truth." The pause that followed was electric. The audience exhaled collectively, soft applause and murmurs mixing together. Whoopi's eyes softened slightly, acknowledging the power of the statement, but her posture remained strong, her authority intact. The cameras captured every subtle movement, the slight arch of a brow, the tilt of a head, the imperceptible smirk that flickered across America's face. It was a battle of presence as much as words. Every gesture, every intonation, became a statement in itself, a cinematic interplay of tension and respect, challenge and composure. As the segment progressed, it became increasingly clear that this was not a typical interview. The interplay of intellect, emotion, and authority transformed the studio into a stage for an extraordinary live performance. The audience, fully immersed, was caught between awe and suspense, responding instinctively to the verbal sparring and the charged atmosphere. Even small gestures, a hand raised, a slight lean forward, a pause before a word, amplified the intensity, drawing viewers further into the drama. America's calm composure, paired with Whoopi's seasoned assertiveness, created a dynamic that was both mesmerizing and tense. Each word carefully chosen, each counter deliberate, the interaction felt choreographed yet unpredictable, authentic yet cinematic. It was a rare glimpse into the energy that arises when two strong, intelligent personalities collide in a public forum. By the end of this segment, the audience in the studio and at home could feel the stakes. America Ferrera had asserted her perspective with calm authority, and Whoopi Goldberg had met her with seasoned poise and subtle intensity. What had begun as a standard interview had transformed into a moment of raw tension, a cinematic clash that would linger in conversations and on social media for days to come. The energy in the room, captured in every camera angle and audience reaction, carried far beyond the studio walls, ensuring this confrontation would be remembered long after the credits rolled. The studio seemed to hold its breath as the tension between America Ferrera and Whoopi Goldberg thickened. Every subtle gesture, every micro-expression, carried weight. America's calm posture, her deliberate hand movements, and the sharp focus in her eyes signaled she was ready to speak with intent. Whoopi, ever the seasoned host, leaned slightly forward, her own presence radiating authority, her gaze locked onto America, studying every nuance, every flicker of emotion. What I've realized, America began, voice steady yet layered with intensity, is that people often hear words without truly understanding the context or the experience behind them. Perspectives can be dismissed before they are even considered. And when that happens, the conversation stops before it starts. The audience stirred, sensing the weight of her words. Whoopi's smile, warm moments ago, had faded into a look of measured curiosity. "Layers, America," she asked, her voice calm but edged. "Are we speaking truth, or just perspective shaped for comfort?" America's gaze met Whoopi's, unwavering. "Both," she replied firmly. "I speak my truth, shaped by my experience and the perspective that comes with it. Isn't that the point of this show? To speak openly, to confront ideas, even when it's uncomfortable." The room seemed to grow quieter, the audience leaning in, captivated by the delicate tension unfolding. Every camera angle lingered, capturing expressions, the subtle tightening of Whoopi's jaw, the slight arch of her brow, America's calm yet penetrating stare. Joy Behar tried to interject, her voice light but concerned. "America, we understand your perspective," she began, but America's subtle gesture, a calm pause and firm stare, held her at bay. Whoopi responded with her usual poise, but there was a spark of challenge in her tone. "I hear your experience, America," she said carefully, "but live television amplifies every word. Context matters, and the way we frame our words can influence perception far beyond this studio." America leaned in slightly, her voice gaining a quiet intensity. "Then let it resonate," she said. "Let it provoke thought. Discomfort is necessary for understanding. If we are afraid of the challenge, if we silence confrontation, then growth and truth are lost." The audience reacted audibly, soft gasps and murmurs punctuating the studio. Cameras zoomed in on Whoopi's subtle movements, the narrow of her eyes, the tilt of her head, the almost imperceptible nod, capturing the push and pull of this intellectual duel. "Discomfort is one thing," Whoopi said, her tone deliberate, "but provoking for the sake of spectacle can overshadow clarity. And clarity is what people need." America's eyes did not waver. "Clarity sometimes comes after challenge," she countered. "Silence kills conversation. Truth demands courage, and courage demands confrontation, even if it's uncomfortable." Sunny Hostin and the other co-hosts exchanged cautious glances, aware that this wasn't a routine segment. The energy in the studio had shifted. What began as a guest interview was now a high-stakes clash of intellect, presence, and emotion. The tension was cinematic, a live performance of psychological intensity and verbal precision. Every small movement, America's hand gestures, Whoopi's lean, the subtle nods and micro-expressions, amplified the drama. America continued, sharing personal anecdotes that highlighted systemic challenges and subtle societal dynamics. Each story landed with weight, each reflection a carefully placed assertion. Whoopi responded with probing questions, her calm authority challenging America to dig deeper, to defend her statements with clarity and intention. The rhythm of their exchange felt choreographed yet unpredictable, a mesmerizing collision of intellect and presence. Then came the defining statement, one that would define the episode. America leaned forward slightly, voice deliberate, strong, and unwavering. "We cannot avoid challenge if we hope for growth. We cannot silence confrontation if we hope for understanding. Truth demands courage, and courage demands discomfort." The audience exhaled collectively, some whispering, some nodding in recognition. Whoopi's expression softened momentarily, acknowledging the force of America's words, but her posture remained commanding. "Maybe that's the lesson," Whoopi said, her voice calm but firm. "Discomfort and confrontation aren't enemies. They are tools to challenge, to teach, and to illuminate, but they must be wielded with care." The room seemed to vibrate with the energy of the exchange, the audience completely absorbed, reacting instinctively to every word, gesture, and pause. Cameras lingered on subtle details, the tilt of a head, the faint smirk on America's lips, the slight tightening of Whoopi's jaw, capturing the drama in real time. As the segment continued, the dialogue pushed further, the energy intensifying. America spoke with calm authority, weaving personal insights into broader social commentary. Whoopi responded with precision, challenging assumptions, probing for depth, and keeping the conversation anchored. The co-hosts provided minimal interjections, allowing the tension and momentum between the two to carry the narrative. Every word, pause, and gesture amplified the cinematic tension, pulling the audience deeper into the drama. By the end of this segment, it was clear This was no ordinary talk show moment. America Ferrera had asserted her perspective with authority and calm precision, and Whoopi Goldberg had met her with poise, intellect, and subtle challenge. The studio, charged with energy, seemed almost frozen in anticipation of the climax, a moment that would resonate beyond the show, into social media and public discourse. The stage was set for the final confrontation, the moment that would cement this episode as unforgettable. The tension finally began to ease, but the energy in the studio was electric. Every eye remained fixed on America Ferrera and Whoopi Goldberg, both still seated, both still powerful, as if the conversation had suspended time itself. For a moment, silence dominated, a silence heavy with reflection, with the weight of words spoken and unspoken. The audience exhaled as one, a collective acknowledgement that they had witnessed something extraordinary, something raw, intense, and unfiltered. America leaned back slightly, her calm composure intact, but there was a subtle shimmer in her eyes, a mixture of triumph, exhaustion, and quiet vindication. Whoopi, the seasoned veteran, gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. The acknowledgement was mutual. They had navigated the storm together, testing each other, challenging one another, and emerging with a respect that transcended the moment. The co-hosts, though relieved the peak of tension had passed, were still visibly affected, the subtle shift in energy rippling through the room. Joy Behar spoke softly, attempting to bridge the intensity with levity. "Well, I think we all just went through a masterclass in honest conversation," she said, a hint of awe in her voice. The audience responded with scattered applause, murmurs of agreement, a mix of relief and exhilaration. It was clear this moment would linger in memory, the kind of segment that becomes more than entertainment. It becomes conversation, debate, reflection. America's final words to Whoopi were quiet, yet carried weight across the studio. "Thank you for listening, even when the words were hard to hear," she said. Whoopi's voice, calm but tinged with respect, replied, "And thank you for reminding us why honest conversation matters, even when it's uncomfortable." The exchange, brief yet profound, captured the essence of the episode. Confrontation met with reflection, challenge met with understanding. As the cameras pulled back, the audience erupted into sustained applause. The cheers were genuine, a mixture of admiration for the courage displayed, the tension navigated, and the truth spoken. People were on their feet, some whistling, some clapping, their reactions captured perfectly by the wide-angle cameras. The energy was cinematic, a live testament to the power of dialogue that refused to shy away from conflict. Once the show ended, social media exploded. Clips from the segment circulated immediately, trending across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Headlines proclaimed, "This moment between Whoopi and America broke the view," and America Ferrera's truth versus Whoopi Goldberg's wisdom, unmissable. Viewers everywhere dissected every glance, every pause, every word. GIFs captured the intensity of the eye contact, snippets highlighted the verbal sparring, and forums buzzed with opinions, debates, and heated discussions. The fallout was instant and viral, a perfect storm of emotion, intellect, and drama. Media outlets jumped on the moment, analyzing every facet. Commentary ranged from praise for America's courage to admiration for Whoopi's ability to challenge yet remain composed. Social media accounts dedicated to viral celebrity moments shared clips, dissecting reactions and body language, while thousands of viewers contributed their own analyses, opinions, and hot takes. The episode became not just a talk show segment, but a cultural moment, one that would be referenced for weeks, months, and perhaps even years. Fans flooded comment sections, many expressing awe at the intensity. "I've never seen such a calm but powerful confrontation on live TV," one viewer wrote. "America was fearless, and Whoopi held her ground like a queen," another commented. Memes began circulating, GIFs looping the most dramatic expressions, and the internet quickly labeled the episode as one of the most unforgettable confrontations in talk show history. The viral impact was undeniable, and the narrative extended far beyond the studio walls. But the most remarkable thing wasn't just the online attention, it was the discussion it sparked. Conversations in homes, offices, and social spaces revolved around the dialogue, the confrontation, and the respect underlying it. Viewers debated the nuances, analyzed the tension, and reflected on the importance of speaking truth, even when it challenges comfort. The episode became more than a show. It became a mirror, reflecting society's ongoing struggle with confrontation, understanding, and dialogue. And in the quiet moments after the cameras stopped rolling, the impact lingered. Ferrera and Whoopi Goldberg exchanged one final, subtle glance, a mix of acknowledgement and mutual respect. They had navigated conflict with intelligence, emotion, and courage. They had created a moment that would be dissected, discussed, and remembered. The audience, both in studio and online, had witnessed something rare, a live, authentic collision of intellect, presence, and human emotion. As the video fades out, viewers are left with a powerful realization. Moments like these aren't just entertainment. They are lessons in courage, truth, and communication. And now, it's your turn to engage. What did you think of this confrontation? Whose perspective resonated with you the most? America's fearless truth or Whoopi's seasoned wisdom? Comment below with your thoughts, and let us know which moment shocked you the most. Don't forget to subscribe to the Viral Breakdown for more explosive, dramatic stories like this one. Hit the like button if this confrontation left you on the edge of your seat, and share this video with friends who need to see what happens when truth and authority collide on live television. The discussion isn't over, it's just beginning.